Hello, this is going to be your tutorial video for how to build an armature. That means a skeleton for your paper mache project. So this lovely cheetah head was made out of paper mache. I don't think you can see completely on the inside of it, but you can see it's hollow. So this one's very light, and we can talk about how you can do that later. But for now, let's just worry about getting the shape of our thing made. This is another paper mache project. It's a big old hat. And again, we'll talk about how they made that one. So, the first thing I want to show you is called the burrito bunch. And what that looks like, it can end up looking like this little Sphinx cat that I was working on. And often I've seen students, when they start to do this, say, okay, I'm going to make this like Sphinx hat. I need a little ball here and then like a big mass here. And so they'll start to take a piece and crumple it up into a kind of head. Good. And then they'll crumple up something into a kind of body. Good. And then they'll start to try and tape these together, and before they know it, they're getting frustrated because it's uncrumpling and they're using so much tape. So enter the burrito wrap. All you do is you take a big piece of paper, you lay down the forms that you want to use. So I'm going to make this the head actually. It's a little bit smaller. Lay down the forms you want to use, and then you just wrap them up like a burrito. And that way, instead of putting tape all over the place, you really just have this one area that needs to be secured. So that's called the burrito bunch, and that's how I made this little Sphinx cat, the base of him, the body. It's a little burrito bunch. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's how to burrito it. The second thing I want to show you is how to strengthen certain areas like ears, because I've seen kids do this before. They'll cut out their ear shape or a wing or something out of newspaper and just tape it down. But the way that paper mache works is you end up putting a big thick layer of glue and paper on top, and this is just too flimsy. It would just fall over and be non-existent. So you can use cardboard to shape wings, ears, or other pieces to your paper mache project. Just keep in mind that cardboard can be manipulated very easily. So even though it's kind of stiff and standing up, you can crinkle it, bend it, soften it, and make it really do whatever you want it to do. And then one more tip is when I attach these ears to the Sphinx, what I did is I cut along the bottom of the ear these little tabs and then folded them out. And that way I created a space to tape to my project, okay? So if I want to add that little dorsal fin, I would have a space to put tape on rather than trying to like tape, no surface area together. So that is one little tip. And you could do the same thing with like toilet paper tubes, cut little tabs on the bottom, flap them out, and then that way you have a space to tape to. Okay, two more things I wanted to talk about. One is using wire to strengthen something that might normally be delicate and thin. So what I did for this tail is I took a piece of wire and I kind of took twice the amount that I wanted my tail to be. And the reason why is to make sure that I could attach it in a nice strong way. So whenever you're working, there's two things I need you to remember. To keep your project smooth, so that when you do the paper mache, you're not annoyed with all these different flaps sticking out. So smooth and strong, so that when you attach the skin to it, the thick layer of glue, that it really holds up to the weight of that glue and is very strong. So when you attach the tail, rather than just taking the end of the metal or the end of the wire, just sticking it in there, because that'll just flop around like crazy and rip a hole in your project, you need to consider, how can I attach this in a way that's very strong and secure? And that's where you take your wire and you can bend out the ends, the bottom, and then that provides a nice base to tape to my sculpture, okay? And then I want to thicken it up because that paper mache is not really meant to apply a thick layer. or it will rot. It'll actually mold and be stinky and not dry well. So you want to get your sculpture as close to done as possible before you put the skin on. And if I want to thicken up this tail, I'll just take some newspaper and kind of twist it up into a rope. And then I can easily tape that to my wire, and then it's moldable, movable, okay? But again, make sure it's smooth, that you tape it well so it's nice and smooth, and that way it'll be nice and strong. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to show you was this hat. On the inside, do you see that there's these ribs that kind of get put around? And how that works is you can just take something thick. They used like almost like a poster board type material that was donated, but you can also just use cardboard. Take it on the end of the table and just sort of, almost like you're polishing a shoe or something, and kind of ruin that nice straight quality to the cardboard, and you can make it bend really nicely and become whatever shape you need it to be. So if you're trying to make some sort of dome shape, that can be a nice approach to how to handle that. In fact, that is how this cheetah was made. That's how it's hollow. So what she did is she created a little itty bitty circle for the neck of the cheetah, just like this, and then used little ribs, we'll call them ribs, of cardboard to build up, you know, the beginning stages of that head, and then built it out, and then was able to go over that. So those are a few different techniques of how to begin your armature. We have the burrito bunch to contain all of those little itty bitty balls of newspaper that you might have crumpled up. Using cardboard for like small flat pieces to make sure that they're nice and strong. Using wire. And last but not least, you always want to make sure that your armature is smooth and strong so that it can hold up to that glue process. Thank you and good luck.